Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel, and guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show. Just FYI, sorry about that. I clicked a few things that I hadn't intended on there. I got a I got my little steampunk styled mouse now that I'm using with my laptop, and still getting the hang of that thing. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about identifying the enemies of the servants of the Most High in the last days. Now, I put this in order of importance. I pretty much put together a top 10 list. I lumped a couple things that could be like dualities, but I went with my top 10 list of my personal list of what to look out for. This is going to get pretty intense. I'm not going to lie. So just bear with me as I go through this today. A couple things, though, that I want to point out ahead of time on this first and foremost, then I'll get in the comments, is that if you have not seen, secondly, guys, I got in late last night. If you haven't noticed, I've been posting. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately. I went to Atlanta, or down toward Atlanta, Georgia, spoke. If you didn't see the past couple posts I made, where that I spoke at the Jeremiah 23:3 conference. Then also, I was in Chattanooga the other day, and then I just got home. And so now today I'm actually doing the stream a day late because I told you guys this year I plan to start doing the stream the night before Sabbath. So those that don't know about the scriptural lunisolar scriptural biblical calendar, I encourage you to check this out. You can download it on the App Store for Android or Apple. It's free. It's World's Last Chance calendar app. It's a great tool to help you start learning, getting back to the scriptural biblical calendar of ancient times. And also, guys, if you have not seen the recent streams, of course, today is going to be identifying the enemies of the servants of the Most High in the last days. And the last stream, I talked about the curious case of the passing away of the masses around the world. I am surprised I have not had that taken down yet, or community guidelines struck. I must have actually spoke in parables enough that one slipped through for once finally. And the last one I done before that was, are you prepared for the next world economic downturn and collapse? So today, we're going to be going deep dive into who's your enemy in the last days. And this is super, super, uber important because it is inevitable that this is going to take place. And no matter how hard we try to abate these problems, they are going to become a clear reality. And you can either deal with it or you can try to brush it off and act like it ain't a thing, but it's going to be a reality. All right. Let me see what some people said here. It says so much revelation lately about who our agents are darkness. With that said, Elohim has already don't the massive sweep through to knock them all down. Let's see what they said here. Happy Sabbath, brothers and sisters. I just seen a Mr. Beast video. He is curing blind people now. Whoa, what? I will have to see that. Very creepy. Man, just a couple quick side notes of news, then we're going to go right in the stream, is that I don't know if you've seen that about the Andrew, I forget his last name, about getting killed for bringing out the video footage of a giant. And then not only that, there was the guys working in the gravel pit in Russia that apparently found a fallen angel that had been, I guess, from what I could see, petrified from the flood. And that made it on TikTok and has been making rounds, I guess. And the media's kept that down silent. So there's that out there too. So a lot of interesting things going on, and we will be having some interesting streams coming up, no doubt about that. All right. So without further ado, let us begin today. All right. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. That's Matthew 10:16. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm going to tell you something. I'm not telling anybody to walk around and be a coward in this life. All right. Sometimes we got to fight. But we need to try to navigate this thing as peacefully as possible because we've got to be separate from the world. All right. Now, I would encourage you, if you have not fired up your lawnmower, your spiritual lawnmower, and been cutting the grass down here lately, I encourage you to oil that thing up, put some starter fluid in it, and fire that beast up and get out there and start getting that lawn mowed because they be snakes, brothers and sisters, in that grass. And we definitely need to keep it mowed down because they be plenty of them and they are starting to creep. All right. So my first thing I want to point out, and this is my biggest #1 enemy on my hit list. And before we tear too deep into this, let me pull the slide down for just a second and make 2 last side notes. Number 1, whether you're a Hebrew blood descendant of Abraham or whether you're of the nations joined to the house of Israel to serve Most High and honor him, keep his commandments, have faith in Messiah. There is people that are in the Torah community, all right? Say they're in the Torah community, that they ain't about this walk. And they are agents, and they are here to tear people down, and they are here to cause strife and dissension. And they run ministries, and they run YouTube shows, and they run, churches. And, I mean, there's all sorts of them out here. All right. So I'm just going to tell you to be mindful of that. All right. Not everybody says that they serve y'all. And all right. Another thing is that, as I've said here at the very beginning, we need to be peaceful if at all possible. And I'm going to tell you, there's going to come a time where when Luke, if I have to, I'm going to be snatching some souls in the night if people come to try to hurt me and my family when this all goes down. And you better be ready to fight. All right. I don't want violence. I'm not a coward. And I'll refuse to go out a coward. And I'll tell you, if people come looking for trouble, I'm going to try to give them all I can. The samurai had a saying, and I don't want to botch it up or misquote it, but pretty much they were like, you had to be more evil than the evil so that the evil ones feared to even do evil. I was like, man, that really hits it on the head. All right. All right. So back on focus here is the #1 enemy. All right. We need to read the scripture first. I'm going to read the scripture for each of these and then point them out. Revelation 18:23 states that the merchants were the great men of the earth, for by their pharmakia, if you look in scripture, that is sorcery, all nations were deceived. All right. So my #1 enemy is the pharmaceutical drug sorcery companies in the last days, because all nations were deceived by them. We have no idea what the past 2 years, the item that was handed out to people, we have no idea on the back end of things how this is going to affect everyone. I'm sorry, we have a very clear idea, but I'm sure there's more things than just weeding out the population if you follow my wording and verbiage on this again, okay? Because in this particular one, I'm going to have to speak in parables yet again. All right, but these companies, and there's somebody I'm missing on here. Moderna. Yeah, I'm missing Moderna. All right, so got them jokers too. But I don't want to miss giving them a shout out on my bad list here. All right, so these people, you definitely have to be mindful of. These are, in my book, the #1 enemy of humanity in the last days right now, as far as Satan, working for Satan Incorporated. Because now you have to understand, all these entities I'm going to be speaking of work directly under the umbrella of Satan Incorporated, because Satan, of course, is the greatest enemy of mankind. But his agents and agencies need to be very clearly lined out and identified. And much love to everybody. Hey, Brother Justin. Shalom to you, my man. Let me see if I can get that up there. Hey, much love, brother. So this is the situation, okay? And I never thought that in the last days I would be watching the pages of Resident Evil being played out, like literally what Umbrella Corporation done in those movies, being played out before my very eyes, just a little bit different layout. But yet here we are, and we're watching it be played out before our very eyes. And guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, that is much appreciated as well. But please help to share this content so that other people can watch it as well, because the algorithm on YouTube is not definitely not my friend much anymore. All right. So with that said, you need to be mindful of that, because I'm going to tell you what, I seen this this post on YouTube the other day. It was Mr. Sunshine Baby one of the things on the feed. I was scrolling it, and he had this thing up, vote, and it was, who do you trust more? So you had Fauci, and you had the WHO, and then you had a hamster. And literally everyone, including myself, voted I would put more trust in the hamster than those two. And so that goes to tell you right there that there is that 78,000 people voted that. All right. So I'm just saying, like, there is a lot of people that are starting to come online and see what's up. All right. Now, the second enemy that I would point out, and I want to be very careful as I say this, because I don't want to ever put my thoughts into scripture. I want to always make sure scripture, the things I share and things that people see, can be fit into scripture and not fit scripture into it. Okay. But you'll see what I'm saying here in just a second. Is Revelation 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, what I wanted to do, you can see dualities and things. And the duality that I want to point out, and that, you know, guys, when I do a really important live stream, I just like to point out that my Wi-Fi dips. And I'm sitting right next to my router, and I run a cryptocurrency mining business. Never have a blip, like hardly ever. But when I do a very important live stream like this, it's like I will watch my Wi-Fi just dip out right in the middle of a live stream. I don't get it. But when we talk about the scripture, you know how it says that we'll make man in our image, right? Well, if you look at in the context of a duality, that the beast system will have its likeness operable. People get excited about AI. I've just always been offset. I can't think of one time in my life where I'm like, AI is a good thing. AI is a good thing. I can't never think of one time in my life that I woke up and thought, man, this is a great idea. I just can't. And I'm not trying to be like negative and all that and everything toward technology. Technology can help do, you know, a great deal of good things for the well-being of humanity. However, when you give machine the ability to be fully autonomous and self-cognitive, which, by the way, 2025, everything is still on target for AI to be fully autonomous, but then's what they're saying. And they've been telling you that since, I think, the oldest article I could find when I've done a stream about AI itself was 2013-ish, I think, but 2015 forward, they've been telling it for sure. So they've been telling you this for a decade. And the thing about this that bothers me is that this thing does not have a conscience. Okay. Secondly, who's to say it can't be demonically possessed? Thirdly, this thing right here is going to be a lot harder to kill than a man trying to harm you. This will be a lot more dangerous. All right. And this is why I put this above a bunch of other sectors, because that when we really, really define this and look at this, unless you just start going down the gun store and buying EMP machines, I really don't know how to combat this. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. Now, that thing comes crashing through my door. In this room alone, I've got a katana, an escort, Hatson tactical shotgun. Do I got a pistol in here? I don't know. Anyway, I try to keep armaments in every room. But I'm going to tell you what, I don't care if I broke out like the full arsenal in my house. I don't know if I can combat these things. All right. This is troubling. It should definitely trouble your mind. Now, I don't tell you this to inspire fear. I tell you this that you need to be getting a game plan for dealing with this stuff. All right. Because I'm going to tell you what, if y'all don't think that one day that they're going to start coming for people, especially like myself, that speak out against these things. Bro, a guy posted on TikTok the other day about giants, and he's dead. His obituary is in the paper now. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? I mean, it is just wild, folks. And if you look right here, you know, there's that saying, expectations versus reality. Well, now I have a saying kind of like that, but there's expectations, there's what you think will be reality, and then there is reality, right? So it's kind of in between expectations, because we like for example, you go to a car show, right? And they show this new fancy car. Now you would love to have that car, but you expect the car to look a little bit different. But you also expect that in the most reality sense, it's going to be said item. Like the Cybertruck, you know, it's went through multiple variations, and I know when I finally get it, what I can kind of expect it to be. Well, you know, when people look at AI, they're like, I think a lot of people, especially blue pill people, they think, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to not have to work so hard. When in reality, it's like, you know, the smart checkouts at Walmart actually just replaced your job. That's how I kind of see this viewpoint right here. Then there's these people that they're like, man, they're going to be Terminator and they're going to come and just kill us all. And I'm like, well, I totally expect weaponized AI like this, but this is what I actually expect, you know, and for a long time, I don't expect it to look, you know, something like this, but I do expect this right out the gate as of like today. And the thing is, once you program this with a target, you give it a weapon and ammunition, and you send it on its mission, it's not going to be a pretty thing. I'm pretty content with that in my mind, that that's not going to end well. All right. So we just need to go ahead and wrap our minds around this, that, you know, just like that stream I done quite some time back, are we headed toward a cyberpunk or steampunk dystopian future? You know, I mean, like, this is kind of what we're headed toward. Yeah, and absolutely, Tess, right there. That's where we're headed. But now listen, we're probably half a decade out from this, guys. That right there, by the time Agenda 2030 is almost full bore, you should expect to see things like that. But now this is the reality you're going to probably see for a while right now. And now in New York, they already have, I think they're putting the robo attack dogs to work. Where that I also think that they're going to authorize them to use deadly force, is what they said. Yeah, David, I've thought about things like this. Here's my thought process. As soon as I get, well, number one, I'm not buying it with the self-driving features on it. And secondly is, as soon as I get it, I'm going to find a way to disconnect a lot of connectivity from it, because the only reason I even want the Cybertruck is the ability to self-recharge. And I would actually prefer to own one of the first ones that come off the line before they get all this other adapt technology in it, just because of purposes like that, because there's no doubt about it. I can just see that coming too. All right. So that was my second enemy in line. Now, our third one, and I would say the third most dangerous, all right, is coming, is, but Peter and the apostles answered, we must obey Elohim rather than men. That's Acts 5:29. And if you read in the book of Daniel about the three Hebrew children that would not bend the knee to the golden idol, okay, and that comes to the next enemy we have is the government. There's going to be different governments around the world that we're going to have interactions with. We're going to have conflict with, depending on where you live, who you are. Here in America, I mean, you know, this is going to be quite a show to see lockdown round 2. Because now, you know, people like me is like, all right, fine, I'll just sit. I'm fine with being a hermit. Dude, I went from running a very successful off-grid business to just building tiny homes and sitting in my house now in the afternoons. Like, I don't have to go any freaking where if I don't want to. And, you know, when it comes to being a hermit, you only need a few things. It's just food, some resources, etc. And they figured out that the next time round on this lockdown thing, that I apparently have heard that the word is they're going to make it where that if you don't have a card or a digit system number thing or something like that, then you're not going to be allowed to have people come drop your groceries off or drop your DoorDash delivery off and all this stuff, because they want to make sure they've got you hooked. And if you look at this situation, and what is it? It's GOD Rules, I think, is the YouTube channel. Yeah, is that he just posted a video about strange things going on at Walmart. So, guys, I just can't cover all this stuff. I tell you what, if I sat here every day, I could find something to discuss for hours. I mean, I don't even have a script in front of me. Y'all do understand that, right? I mean, The next live stream I do is 60, number 60. I've done 60 live streams. And I mean, like, almost never do I have a script in front of me. Like, there's this much stuff going on in the world that you can sit and talk about it that long. That tells you the world's a messed up place right now, just in of itself, right there on that one point. But you should definitely plan for this, is that this is one of our top enemies, because number one, you're not messing with my DNA. I'm going to tell you, I don't care if you are Uncle Sam. I don't, unless you are the Most High Yah. You best not come trying to mess with my DNA, because I will full well clap you dead. You will be leaking out, because I am not complying. I did not the first time. I want the second time. I want the third time, or to hell freezing over. All right. I'm not taking an RFID chip. I'm not taking the pokey. All right. You can just take a fast track to hell, because I'm not doing it. All right. So that's Luke's 2 cents on that. But we have to understand that this is critical mass, and it's hitting a point of critical mass, because we've seen a template for the first time. Absolutely, brother. And let me tell you, Uwazo Foster, there is a ton of us like that. I'm going to tell you, there is a spirit in a lot of us that we will be like those 3 Hebrew children. We will not be in that need. And matter of fact, the more I'm told to do something, the more I am not the same person I used to be. If you actually look at my content years ago, for those of you who have followed me for a decade and have seen my transition from Babylon, and furthermore, keep in mind, I was already 3 years into the truth before I even started the YouTube channel. Okay. So from 2009 to now, I've had some massive changes, but like, something happened to me last year. I don't know if it was the 2 years of all the forced stuff that people were trying to force down our throat. I don't know if it's because I took and really sat and thought about a lot that was going on, but something has fundamentally changed in me, that I am not the person I used to be. Like, I am like 2 heartbeats away from just going to the sword all the time. Like, I don't want to negotiate no more. I don't want to try to reason no more. I don't even want to have this stuff as a topic, because, like, to me, somebody starts saying, well, we're going to need you to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you ain't going to get nothing out of me. Matter of fact, I'm going to be even more terrible to have to deal with now than ever before. And I've told people, I'm like, before this is over, I expect to be sitting in a jail cell at some point. I absolutely expect to be sitting in a jail cell, because I am just not to be tampered with anymore on some of these things. I won't even begin to have a conversation. So with that said, guys, keep in mind that and in review real quickly, okay, pharmaceutical, drug, sorcery companies, AI, and governments. These are your top 3. All right. I mean, you need to, like, you know that saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. All right. We ain't going to have to worry about keeping these close. They're like right here in our backyard. All right. And I'm going to try to keep moving here, because we're almost 30 minutes into this show today. All right. So there's that. Okay. Now, number, yeah, I forgot. I get so wound up, I forget some of the content I put in here. All right. Another important point why that the government made number 3 slot is because that the loss of freedom. All right. And let me break this down to you. I was just in the clown show here recently, because my child support extortion payments were being terminated because my son's 18. And, oh man, David, that might be the comment of the day right there. If you make it to a cell, you didn't fight hard enough. Now, keep in mind, though, the Most High can make sure you end up in a cell to be a witness to people. We've seen that with the apostles in the past. So I'm with you, but I'm also, you got to keep in mind, the Most High is going to put us where he wants us to be a witness. Look at the 3 Hebrew children ended up in the fire pit, and they still walked out of it. So the courtroom, this entities, these governments, not just America, but all governments around the world, keep in mind, they have the power to strip you of freedom and life and dignity, and can kill you. All right. So just keep that in mind. And they will be a tool used by the man of sin, because there's many antichrists in the world. John even talks about that in his writing. There's many antichrists going down the world, all right? But there is a man of sin, all right? And that's the next number 4 enemy. And the reason I put him number 4 is because even though he is a huge evil, the first three are far more dangerous because the first one is destroying of your DNA. The second one has no soul. The third one is the government you're dealing with every day. And then this one pulls the puppet strings from behind. So let's read the Second Thessalonians. And listen, I've been getting a lot of feedback from folks that here and there through time that some people's for Paul's writings, some people's against. Listen, I just use Paul's writings when it's beneficial for the subject matter. I don't need Paul to see salvation. I want y'all to understand that. If the Torah talked about that there would be one raised up in Israel like Moshe, and that one was to be heard in all things, in which he said, which of course that was Messiah. And we are at that point where we have had Messiah's words too. So I've got the Torah, I've got the prophets, and I got Messiah. I don't need Paul. However, if it is beneficial for the context of which I speak, I'm going to quote Paul. So for everybody who gets in their feels about that, listen, I love y'all, but this is for educational purposes. I use Paul as like a side reference wheel. All right. So now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Messiah is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. We are definitely there. Pause. And that man of sin be revealed. We are there. The man of sin is the Pope. Pause. The son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, and that is worship, so that he, as Elohim, sitteth in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Pause. We've seen the popes do stuff like this. All right. Just saying. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know that what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. That time is before us. Pause. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And all right. So, man, I see a lot of comments coming in about Paul. Yeah, guys. All right. So here we go. Let's take a pause and look at this guy right here. Now, the other man of sin passed away the other day, something I didn't cover. I just, you know what? I hate the Vatican. Matter of fact, I was at the Lego show the other day because y'all know I'm doing that Lego show too. And I hope people's enjoying that, by the way. Where is that at? Let me throw a shout out up for that. Adventures and Bricks. You can check that out. Links in the video description below. I'll also have the golf channel and the crypto minded channel going full bore by spring back up. I've got the crypto up. I just ain't focused on it in a while, but I got to get back to it. Anyway, so Paul talked about, oh my goodness. Paul warned that this day would come. All right. Now, here is this day. And here is this man of sin. And matter of fact, he's wearing the, oh my goodness, DAGON, I think is that mitre. That's the deity to which that mitre is reference to worship. And we see this man of sin before us today. Has a massive effect on the world. The Jesuits are infiltrated. Every government. I'm pretty certain they run the CIA today, which, by the way, I will continue to say is the largest terrorist organization in the world. And here we dealing with it. And everybody, okay, yep, thank you. I thought that was the deity. Guys, I'm telling you, there's so much false deity worship. There's so much paganism in the world. There's so much carried down from Babylon and Mesopotamia that it is hard to sort it all out some days. It's just so hard, especially when you're doing this unscripted and without reference. It is so hard to just stay on point on this sometimes. But nevertheless, this is our top number 4 enemy that we need to be mindful of. Because now this Joker, he's going to be the cause of many people's death. And if you have not ever read about the Spanish Inquisition, you need to understand something. That what was in the past, it will repeat. And the past is always indicament of the future. All right. All right. Now, number 5, which this is one of those I would actually just like combine it together, is 4 and 5. But you got to look at it that there is the great whore and then there is her harlot daughters that the book of Revelation warns us of. And I briefly touched on this for a moment when I spoke at the Jeremiah conference in down toward Atlanta recently. And I tell you what, there is a lot of Hebrew Israelites out there. There is those street preacher types that I just call the hateful Hebrews. There is those that are just, stick to myself. I'll do my own thing. And then there is people like Boom. And I tell you what, that's the Hebrew Israelites I want to be around. And that's the people that I hope are in the kingdom, because I absolutely love the fellowship when I'm with them. And it is always such a wonderful feeling just to spend time together. Truly. After conference was over, I don't know how long I stood and talked with brothers and sisters before I began my journey back home. It was really, really great. But anyway, I touched on this briefly there, is that the great apostasy of the church. And we are in the time of the falling away. And you can see this currently, scripture right there. They will be fooled by evil spirits and by teachings that come from demons, 1 Timothy 4:1. And that's exactly what's going on right now. There is so many heresies in the church that the problem that I'm concerned with right now is that, and I'm going to speak on this in point 10 because I don't want to touch on that point too early. Because it contains this institution contains people that are on point number 10. And so just keep that in mind when we get to 10. All right, I'm going to fall back to this point one more time. But if you consider upon this matter, there is so many things. Okay, let's do this. I know I'm just all over. I feel like I'm all over the place today, but there's just so much content I need to get out to you today on this. Is that if you look in the church house today, everything from JSUS instead of Yahushua or Yahweh, however you would prefer to say it. There's everything from that, not saying the true set apart names, to keeping the true Sabbath, to the rapture doctrine, to anything goes, just all this stuff. If you look at it, okay, there is so many things out of order, and just completely out of order. And it's going to get worse. And as it gets worse and we try to draw closer to the light, we are going to be on the outs. And that is going to be where we are really, really in a spot. And we're going to be enemies of these people. And it's not that we intended to be or want to be. It is going to be by default alone. Okay. And that's something you need to keep in mind. And I want to be very plain when I say this, is I love my brother and sister, but I do not love you beyond the truth. The truth has to come before you. And so you can slap Christian label, whatever label you want to on it. But if you're not loving Yah and walking out his Torah, you're not my brother and sister. All right. And you're not my friend. You're my enemy by default at that point. And it's not that I want to be your enemy. I'm just telling you, like, this is how things are eventuality will shake out. Now, point number 6. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This is Ephesians 6:12. Now, the media, okay, the woke media, especially culture, were in it. Now, CNN, I think it was going to do a daily live stream service, and they almost went bankrupt within a week. Within a week on that, they were bleeding. People are tired of the woke culture. They're tired of being jammed down their throat garbage. They're tired of the fake news. They're tired of it all. However, and let me make sure I'm put a very clear however, it does not matter. They are going to feed the masses garbage, and there is enough people that watch the garbage to keep it going. The problem with this one, and why this one actually makes it further up the list than things that you would actually have more closer interaction with, is that I look at the reach. And the reason I ranked all these is because of reach, accessibility. And as you look at this situation on point number 6 right here, is the media is a huge tool. If you look at what it done to people's minds in the past 2 years, the propaganda warfare that was used against people. I mean, people, you do understand there was situations where that the media was caught lying, using footage from other places to say it was other things, when in reality it was from something else. Not to mention, we seen dummies laying in certain things, getting poked with certain things, and they weren't even real. Y'all understand what my parables are? And it was on the news, and they were being hospitalized, but I just got to stop, because I know somebody will try to get a community guideline strike on me if I keep going on with this. All I'm saying is if you look at all the fakery that was done in the news over the past couple years, it is a steaming pile of bullish. I mean, just absolutely steaming pile. I'm going to keep it clean today because I'm talking on Sabbath. I see that, Brother Lucas. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, it was crazy, dude. It was crazy. You know what's really messed up is I can literally go on Google right now, click that image, and bring that up on this live stream and show y'all, but I'd get a community guideline strike. And you know what really irritates me about that is it's just a news clip of a hospital bed with a certain thing laying in it that, but I can literally scroll my YouTube feed, and there is a girl with like a string on for clothing, shaking her butt cheeks on the screen. And it's got like 10 million views, and it's not against community guidelines or anything like that on YouTube. But like, I literally can talk about a news clip and it gets took off here. That's why I'm telling you guys, something happened to me last year, and I'm not the same person anymore, and I just can't go back. Like, this guy you're dealing with right now, this is who I am from now on. Like, I don't know if it's like I've just fully come online finally, or I've tried to do this thing called radical acceptance, and pretty much it breaks down. And I've actually touched on it on here, is that radical acceptance is that you accept the situation that you're in. You don't accept that you want it to be that way, but you accept this is what you're dealing with, and you try to move on. And I think that's what it is I finally hit the point of radical acceptance, and I am just operating in my mindset with radical acceptance. I think that's what it is. All right. And Orwell called them thought police. Zuckerberg calls them fact checkers. And you have to understand that the media controls all this. All right. The media controls everything we say and do. So if it's off, you're cut off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I was on here as some purple-haired social justice warrior spewing liberal doctrine, I'd probably be on a suggested feed list at the top of YouTube right now. Just saying. But anyway, I had to get them shots in today. Luke just taking them shots, being petty. Got to be a little petty. All right. Anyway, Matthew 10:21 in the King James Version says, "And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death." All right. Now, point number 7. Let me see. Make sure I'm on right. Yeah, this should be point 7. Is that family, you've got to be mindful that your family is probably going to have the greatest risk of causing you great harm in the last days, more than almost anyone. However, I said that I ranked these by proximity, so you have the ability to separate most often from loved ones to abate this problem. However, they still have access to your life, and most often know where you live, your phone number, heck, even your darn social security number probably. And there's things that we've got to account for with this, because they can absolutely sell you out in the last day. And not to mention, Scripture pretty much warned you well in advance that this is like a slam dunk guarantee. So knowing this, it would be wise on our behest to not allow that to take place if at all possible, and to separate your company early and to slowly dip out of their lives before they became a liability to you. And if your family, right here, somebody said, Faith and Hope said, my family has already divorced me. That actually, let me tell you something. Not having family in the last days, I don't want to sound like Bruce Wayne Batman moment, but not having family in the last days actually may be a good thing. I don't want nobody to be an orphan. I don't want nobody to not have family or anything like that. But the more family you have that's not believers, the more liability you incur. If you don't have no family, you have absolutely skip this point altogether because those risks are not there. However, it's sad not to have family. All right. It's sad not to be able to spend time together and stuff like that. And I don't want nobody to be alone. Matter of fact, I'd love to see everybody have a husband or a wife, children, prosperous, living their best life. I mean, I want to see everybody winning in this life. Seriously. Now, I mean, if it was up to me, I'd have my Lotus and a house on the beach, and that's about it. I don't gotta be mega uber rich. All right. There's just a few nice things I'd like to have, but that's it. And I'm not a materialistic person either. So, but regardless, you got to understand that this one right here is a clear and present danger. And it's something I don't think we think it through enough until family betrays you. And then you're like, I can't believe that so-and-so did that to me. And it's like, yeah, they will. They will. All right. Now, this should be, Lotus like the car. Yeah, my man. So let me see. We got 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, I should have this should be 3 more points left, guys. And so right here it says, yes, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted, who ate bread with me, has lifted up his heel against me. Psalms 41:9, and that's in the World English Bible. And by the way, guys, apparently the World English Bible is an update of the American Standard Bible. I've been reading a bunch of passages out of it here lately of great intrigue, and I am going to probably buy me a copy of that just for reference points on certain passages. But our next point is that, and I think this should be number 8 now, is that friends / co-workers. Now, I put friends and co-workers together in this thing because a lot of us made a lot of our friends in life from working with them. Furthermore, a lot of our people that we know, a lot of friends and stuff we know, they're close knit to us and they have proximity to us. They have access into our lives. And we've got to be mindful of this, is that, like, if these people aren't serving the master, if they're not about what you believe and they're constantly derogatory toward you, it's probably time to just cut this loose and keep it moving. Oh yeah, man. Hey, I don't know if y'all seen it. I think it's the Lotus Avija. I think that it is fully electric. They're the first one to make the fully electric. I bet that thing is going to be like $500,000 minimum. But the thing we've got to understand with family and friends is that they mean well in their own way, but their own way is not Yah's way. And that is the disconnect. That is the point where that it's like, I cannot love you past the truth. And that, I mean, that's just, like I said, guys, 37, something changed for me. It says you cannot get through to them. I'm so exhausted. Yeah. Matter of fact, I don't think it's the getting through to them part that irritates me as bad as it is that the constant disrespect and derogatoriness, that it's like, I've been this way into decades now. You understand? Like, people catch a fad and they might be that way for months or a year or two, but I'm like, we're into decades and I operate in the same capacity, the same spirit, and the same every single freaking day. So would it not, come to mind that maybe this is how I'm going to be from now on? And yeah, right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right there. And I think that is definitely what hurts the worst, because it's like, accept me, No, and guys, I understand and I get what you're saying. And you know what? That is I honestly think it's the spirit of strong delusion that's been put upon people. And, another thing, because we're in a live stream right now and I do this live stream format for people that's watching this, after the stream, in review. A point in case that I would make to people too is, and I know people, you know, you're going to have a hard time with this, but just because that somebody gave birth to you, just because you loved somebody and married them, doesn't mean they're for you. You know, like there comes a point past feelings and love and DNA and emotion that you hit this point of reality and you're like, flip. These people, I loved them, but they only love me so far. And this is just not going to work out. And that right there, when you hit that point, that hard break, you can't glue that back together. And the sooner you accept that and can move past that, the better and happier your life will be. All right, now moving on. 1 Peter 4:3, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. Now, I thought about this and I'm like, you know, that is, the KJV breaks it down quite nice, but I really love this translation right here. For you have spent enough time in the past doing what pagans choose to do, living in debauchery, lust, drunkenness, orgies, carousing, and detestable idolatry. They think it strange that you do not plunge with them into the same flood of dissipation, and they heap abuse on you. Man, I tell you what, that is some great script. And yes, Tess, it's the circle effect method that you're referring to people right there. I did have a video on that. You know what? It wouldn't be bad to do a live stream about that again. I did a chart with circles, and that's how I've accepted things now. Yep. And you know what? I really need to go back and review that myself. That is a really, really good thing that I should do a live stream on coming up. All right. Yeah, 1 Peter 1 is bomb. I'm telling you what, man, that has some good rights. So when people think about it, you know, like you see these people here looking like they're druids and stuff like that, right? And like got Stonehenge, all this crazy stuff up, right? And people, and what is that? What is that one prepping channel where the guy's like a Viking or whatever? And I can't even think of his name. He's like up in Norway or something like that. But he made a video recently, and it was like pagans. We've always something Christianity's leaving, and people's going back to paganism, something like that. And we've always been here. That was the name of the video he was posting. Jorg or something's his name. And I was like, dang. I was like, you know, people don't pay attention that the depth of how many people are just pagans. We're not in ancient times anymore, so that, you know, like it doesn't just stick out. You know, you might be wearing a UT football jersey. The pagan guy next to you is wearing a UT football jersey. Like, we're blended. You don't see it, right? Clear as day. But in modern day, let me see if that's the person. Hold on, guys. I got to Google this real quick, and let me see if that's who you're talking about. Bull Hansen. YouTube. Let me see if this is it. Bjorn Arnder. I think that might be the guy. Yeah. Yeah. It is serving them. Yeah. Is that who it is that Faith and Hope said? Because listen, I'm not trying to beat up on Bjorn. I'm just saying, I seen that video the other day and it really hit me. I mean, I was like, wow. I was like, the people are becoming very clear of where they stand. And now that's why I put these toward the very end of the list, because now at least you know where their mindset is. Now the government will tell you they're about you and they're going to kill you. AI drop in on you in the middle of the night. Drug sorcery company tell you they're trying to save your life and they actually be killing it. But these people, the reason they get like number 9 slot is because they're back end of it, because they're straight with you. All right. These people being straight where they're at. And so long and short of it, I seen this the other day. And as I was putting this presentation together, it really hit me hard. I was like, This is a subset that I got to be mindful of, because these people don't care about you. Like they're going to do what they're going to do. And they don't care that you love y'all. Like, it ain't even a blip to them. Like, I seen this guy's video the other day. He made a video about that the River Euphrates is drying up. And I've touched on it on many times. Like, then I've said I'm going to do a live stream on it. And I promise I'm going to do a live stream on it coming up. It's on the list of things to do. But the guy was talking about it. And then he just like, yeah, but, it talks about, I guess, the end of the world. This is supposed to go on, blah, blah, blah. And then goes right back to business as usual. I'm like, bro. That was 2 millennia ago. That was prophesied to happen. I don't think I would just like dismiss that and go back to my pagan lifestyle. Oh, like there's nothing wrong with having hobbies and certain things to try to forget about the reality of the current situation we're living in. But my mercy gracious, I was like, that's not to just be dismissed and go on. So when we think about that, I said all this, that to say, to come to this point, is that many of these people, when it hits the fan, especially probably trumpets starting, mid-trumpets, when believers are going to start being blamed for stuff going on, these people, you got to understand, for every true servant of y'all, there's probably thousands of these jokers. Thousands. And you don't think that 1 in 1,000 of them won't sell you out? Bro, you best be stepping, okay? Yeah, okay, so maybe that was yeah, that okay, I was wanting to make sure I was right on that. Okay, so anyway, this though is the problem, is if you look at the reality of today, you can't tell pagans hardly apart from just like deep-rooted pagans, like Wiccans and Satan worshipers, stuff like that. You can't hardly sift them apart from worldly people. Sorry, guys, got a lot of sign strange this morning. So you can't really, it's hard to separate all this stuff out, right? And when you consider up on this matter, you just got to be ever present in your mind that any one of these people, granted the opportunity, motive, and cash, because cash and prizes are going to come for selling out the servants of Yah. These people are going to cut you loose to Uncle Sam or to the man of sin or whoever wants your soul. They'll do it because they want the cash and prices later on down the road. And shout out to Brother Fearmonger. Thank you so much for the donation. Love you, brother. You literally, I've donated on this channel I don't know how many times, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, guys. Starting this coming month, I'm going to put up, I've seen how some people's doing this on their shows nowadays, is they put up a thing showing the people that has donated and contributed to the channel, and I'm going to start doing that as well, because I think you people deserve recognition for the support of this ministry. All right, and that leads us to our last point on here, James 3:1-12. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. I worry about this often because I'm going to be judged for what I've said on this channel, and I want to make sure it's on point because it's the judgment day. I'm going to get a reminder about what I said. For we all stumble in many ways. Yes, we do. And if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body. If we put bits into the mouths of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole bodies as well. Look at the ships also, though they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are guided by a very small rudder. Wherever the will of the pilot directs, so also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. I appreciate that, brother, but I think a workman's worthy of his wage, and you guys have been massively supportive of this channel. I want to definitely honor that back, and I'm going to start putting that together. There's a couple more. I got to put another sister's name up, and a couple people. I got to sort that out in the weeks ahead. But with saying the scripture, another one is, "Be not righteous overmuch, neither make yourself overwise. Why should you destroy?" Ecclesiastes 7:16. And it says here, a zealot, a person who is fanatical and uncompromising in pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideals, which now I've said this before. I don't know how many times private sayings in public to people that the most dangerous people are religious zealots, political zealots, and science zealots. And in the past 2 years, if you don't think that I'm right about the science zealots, you look at all the trust the science. Oh, shoot, it's wrong. Trust the scientists. Oh, shoot, well, just trust the government. They know what's right. And then come to find out every freaking one of them's wrong. So just saying. What I want to point out is there is nothing wrong with being zealous for the truth. To the law and the prophets, they speak not according to this truth, there's no light in them. Isaiah 8:20. I am not telling you to go out there also and browbeat people on the street corner, like I've seen with hateful street corner preachers, like I've seen with hateful Hebrew street corner preachers. You don't want to be them people, all right? Because they're going to have to answer for running people away from the kingdom. However, there is a subset of people out here that I would call zealots and fanatics. Now, here's the difference, folks. One reason I've started doing so many other YouTube channels, just like the crypto mining, we'll pick it back up and creating a new golf channel. And then also like the family Lego block brick building channel I'm doing. Of course, when my daughter's old enough, she can join in. And my son, I guess, is going to jump in and help me too, is that I want people to see a normal person, just like everybody else on the street, because they can't come over here then and say, well, this guy's a religious zealot. He's a nut job. He says all this, blah, blah. Well, I'm just like everybody else. The only difference that sets me apart is I have faith in Messiah. I keep the commandments, and I am expecting the second coming and the events that foreshadow that. Outside of that, I'm just like everybody else. And that's how I want people to be able to see it, because later down the road, whenever if they murder me for the truth of the witness, or I am put on the world stage to be mocked and berated, then they cannot have a word to speak against me in that capacity, because there is going to be those out here that are going to browbeat you. They're going to tell you, you have to believe what the man of sin says. You're going to have to do what the churchianity says. You're going to have to do what Uncle Sam says. There is going to be these that they are like zealot, fanatical. And I mean, let me help you understand this. There is a picture of Nazi Germany where that people are doing the Sieg Heil. And there's one guy standing there with his work hat, and he won't participate. And it was kind of like the three Hebrew children moment kind of thing. But you got to understand that them people did not turn into fanatics overnight. The government did not turn into Nazi Germany overnight. This just takes molding. This takes time. This takes a certain spirit. And you will see this in the years ahead. Look at in the past 2.5 years, the massive molding of the minds that it did to people, that by the time they finally woke up, it was months and years down the road that they came to clarity. So when people have a spirit about them like that, that's zealot, and become a zealot, it can happen quickly, and it can happen in a manner where by the time they see what's up, it's done too late and they've done caused too much damage. And the thing about it is the reason I put these last, though, is because these people as an individual are the most non-dangerous unit of anything you can deal with, even family stuff. Because the reason family gets a higher markup of danger is because they have access. These people don't have access. You could just walk away from and be like, dude, you're stupid. I can't stand you. I'm gone. I'm out. However, if you remember, I talked back at point number 5 about the apostasy and the falling away of the church house, is these people collectively up in the church house, you have another Spanish Inquisition, and it is a hellfire, brimstone, dumpster fire you don't want to be in the midst of, because these people will clap you. All right. You'll be leaking out in the streets, stretched out on the wheel of death, put in the coffin of pins. I mean, oh my gosh, like the frenzy when people get whipped up into like these pastors. Now, I don't want to blaspheme the set apart spirit in any way, because I won't have access to kingdom, and it's unforgivable. But you know how that you'll see certain pastors, they'll get to preaching, and I ain't even going to try to emulate it because I don't want it to be mockery. But you know how they'll get whipped up in frenzy, and they're breathing hard, stuff like that, and you see that like intensity, right? Well, imagine that intensity, but in a group of people, angered mob mentality toward you, that is absolutely trying to wreck people's souls and destroy them. Oh, yeah, that's a good one too. Not to go side squirrel, but absolutely, bro. That's a very good point right there too. But you see this, and the thing is, once you see it, you better be running for dear life, because I'm gonna tell you, a mob is one of the most dangerous things in the world, because a mob mentality always equals death, destruction, and suffering for the smaller group. All right. Furthermore, like whenever one of the most dangerous things to do with a democracy when it comes to political is that people, once they figure out they can vote the will of what they want in the ballot box, vote themselves a paycheck in the ballot box, that is when you lose a democracy, which is, in my opinion, why the only thing that works is a sovereign reigning over a nation, and a righteous one. And that's why Messiah, I look forward to Messiah coming and reigning over with a rod of iron, because whatever he says, I'm going to follow it out. If I Please just count me worthy to enter, and I will do your will for eternity. All right. Fair enough. And the last point I want to make on this now, in closing of that, is not everyone believes what you believe, but my beliefs do not require them to. And you need to think very clearly about this, because now I know this is out of the Matrix, but now you got to understand the Matrix is practically a documentary at this point. But you need to understand that what we're looking at right here is from point 1 to point 10. They require you to believe what they believe. Okay. The pharmaceutical drug sorcery companies require you to believe in their product. The AI requires you to comply to their masters. The government requires you to comply to them. The man of sin requires your obedience and obstinance and worship. The church house requires you to believe what they believe. Your family will ostracize you if you do not follow along with them. Your friends, likewise. What does that leave us with? Help me out here, folks. Where am I? I'm missing something here. The pagans, zealots, and there's somebody I've missed in the mix there. Anyway, my point in case is every single one of these entities that I've spoke about require you to believe what they believe. I don't. I think what makes me so dangerous in this world today is that I know who I am and what makes me tick. I am a Sigma male. There ain't a doubt about it. I am a libertarian, and I am a Torah keeper. Those three mixed together is one of the most dangerous cocktails there is. And I'll tell you for why. As a Sigma male, I can walk away. I don't need anybody but me. I'm a lone wolf mindset. I got in a car the other day, went cross country to speak at a conference, and came home. Like I can operate alone, or I can operate in a group mentality. I manage a tiny house facility right now that's 40 people underneath me. I used to build tiny house by myself. It don't matter to me. All right. Then you have the situation where a libertarian. I want people to do what they do because that's what they desire to do within them. Now, with that said, I want people to love me because they love me, not because they're forced to love me. Or I want people to believe what I believe in because they want to believe that and they see it for themselves, not because I forced them to. All right. All right. And then lastly, because I'm a Torah keeper, I love my fellow man, but I do not love them past what is right. And so by that divide, I have a clear division that separates me from the world today, 3 deep, 3 layers deep. And I can't comply to that. And that is absolutely right there. That is absolutely right. And if you notice, that is why I share this about the Father's lunisolar scriptural calendar, so people can get back to that and not the Roman pagan papal calendar. All right. But I want to go ahead and take this down, and then let's speak here. All right. So in conclusion to the matter today, guys, what I would say to you is that there is a defining time that we are living in right now, today. And there is people making clear, concise decisions on who they serve. And people, a lot of them have always believed a certain way and will continue. If you talk to people, if you actually genuinely talk to people and ask them, why do you believe what you believe? And how long have you believed that? You will find most people have been set in their ways for generations. And whenever you, or I'm sorry, for decades, this has been how they are. Like there's certain people when I went to school with them as a child, now as an adult, they still believe the same way they believe, and they still act the same way they act. And you know, the thing is that yeah, and why do you believe that? That's an excellent point, brother. Absolutely excellent point. And why do you believe that? Hey, shalom to everybody. Much love to everybody in the comments. And that's the question of the day is, for how long a time span was this? Because if that's how they were that whole time, do you really think they're going to change their ways? Because now let me tell you something, folks. When the trumpets start, and I think this is another thing that swapped up for me last year, and this is probably going to be my closing comments and my closing arguments to the jury of public opinion here, is that for the longest time, I thought that when the seven trumpets of Revelation start, people would want to come back to the truth, and it'd be a wake up. But I'm beginning to really believe now that when the trumpets do start, seven trumpets of Revelation do start, and it scourges for amendment of the wickedness in the earth, and a warning that right before Messiah's kingdom is set up here on earth in the Most High Oz, that it will actually embolden and make people far worse and far more wicked and more violent toward those that love y'all. And the more I think upon that, the more that this list that I gave you today, and I honestly think that, and Jens can put your comments in the comment section, but I think from top down, I think I list that in the most dangerous order there is. Man, Tammy, I'm sorry about that. I tell you what, guys, students are going to go through this. It's going to get worse. It's going to get far worse out here. And we just need to be mindful that when the trumpets start, these people that are on that list are going to be the number 1 through 10, however you want to rank them yourself. Them top 10 right there are going to definitely be, like if I had if I was a sheriff's deputy or the sheriff and I had my office, those would be the 10 wanted posters on the back wall, because I know those are my number 1 through 10 enemies out here. Absolutely. Just ain't a doubt about it. So in conclusion, I hope this has been a help today, guys. I hope that it is at least inspired thought as to the situation that we're going to be dealing with in the very near future, because it is absolutely paramount that we prepare our hearts and minds that there are those around us that are Judases, are going to become Judases, and they are going to be motivated to tear us down, destroy us, and betray us. So with that said, guys, it's always till we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel. Hope Most High Yah Baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends. In Yahushua name.